1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Welcome back to the Racial Draft Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Ford. This is the podcast where we change the complexion of the comic book universe. And my co-host is Kia Lisi herself.
Hello, people. Hi. Hi, how are you doing?
And we're also joined by the illustrious representative, one of the many representatives of the Latinx delegation, the adorable one himself, Martine.
Hello, everybody. It's me again. At this point, I'm just like an unofficial co-host, I think.
Yes, you are.
Nice. But I mean, as we often say that, every episode is potentially someone's first episode. I'm gonna come out the gate with, I'm apologizing in advance for what will happen, as we go through our fifth round of our second season of the Racial Draft. We will be selecting comic book characters, or we have selected in the past round, comic book characters from the various delegations, and we're gonna discuss them, hopefully with hilarity. Kia, are you prepared to bring hilarity?
Ha 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 ha. I am hilarious.
Okay, there we go. So, before we dive in, Kia, what were your impressions of the picks overall in this fifth round?
The Latinx team was horrible. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Honestly, like, it wasn't a bad round. I mean, as we go through them and stuff like that, I'll, give a little bit more insight, but it wasn't horrible. It wasn't bad. I disapproved on everybody's pick, by the way, in the polls. So
Oh, yeah. Did you
yeah,
strongly disapprove or did you
so
somewhat disapprove?
I think I strongly disapproved on everybody's picks. I mean,
Interesting.
yeah.
Well, I too thought it was a strong round overall, in terms of picks. Obviously, you know, the picks are always better when we get a little bit of backstory, and we were maybe a little lighter on backstory than I would have liked. But
But
we
I
can.
think didn't Tomati come through this week with
Oh,
a awesome backstory, though he did
yes.
not put Kia Ora, which I think means something or whatever. I just noticed my name wasn't there, so I was like, is the backstory really that good without the Kia Ora thingy that he puts in? And I don't know exactly what it is, so don't quote me on it. But I know there's Kia in it,
Yes,
which
and
makes it
anything with
better.
Kia in it is automatically
It,
better.
yes, obviously.
I feel you. But yeah, no, I thought there were some really cool picks, and from a scoring perspective, I think that there could be some hidden gems as far as those characters are concerned. I think that there are characters who have a fair amount of mainstream recognition, and there are characters who could have even more mainstream recognition in the future. So overall, I thought it was a strong round, and obviously we still have more than half the draft to go, and hopefully this bodes well for what's coming. But Martine, what were your overall impressions? Putting aside your own pick, because there's
Yeah,
obviously going to be a little bit of bias there.
just a little bit. But yeah, very, very good round. Um, I definitely enjoyed seeing some picks more than others. Um,
Hmm.
and it's just going to be very fun. I mean, it is going to be a very light on backstory this time around. I think it's just Tomati and did the Black delegation, I think, did one too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's
Yes.
just three of them, but that's only a third. But
Right.
it would still we're gonna try and make this episode good, even without all the backstories.
Yeah. What we'll do is we'll write our own backstories on the fly. It'll be great.
Yeah,
um.
I can do that. I can help them out.
Exactly. So, we've got a handful of nerd news stories. One, actually, I guess there's one genuine news story and a couple of rumored stories. I'll start with the first rumor, which involves the upcoming Falcon and the Winter Soldier series, which I think we don't have. I think we still don't have a start date for that when that's going to drop on Marvel. What do you call it? I'm sorry, Disney Plus.
Disney Plus.
I'm getting there. I didn't call it HBO Max this time.
No,
Um,
but I think you were gonna call it Marvel Unlimited. I
I
think.
was definitely gonna call
Yes,
it
he was.
Marvel Unlimited.
You got him. You
Like,
got him, Martine. Yeah, yeah.
well, so an actor by the name of Elijah Richardson is rumored to be cast as Eli Bradley in the Falcon and Winter Soldier. He's the reason that he's important is because he is tied to the very famous Truth, Red, White, and Black series, which details the um, I suppose you would call it the Tuskegee experiment style
Hmm.
experiment to develop a new super soldier serum where they use black soldiers, and there's a black Captain America that comes out of that, but he ends up with some side effects, and um, his grandson
Hmm.
Eli Bradley takes on the moniker of Patriot in order to sort of carry on the tradition of his grandfather. So
Elijah Richardson has freckles. Freckles.
yes, he does have freckles. And
I
he has
like it.
freckles and waves. So
Oh, oh.
yeah. I mean, I'm eager to see. I mean, the actor's 18, so he's right in the age group.
Oh,
So he could be.
legal.
I was thinking that he was in the age group to be in line with that Young Avengers thing that they seem to have going on.
Yeah.
So you know, we haven't really seen Elijah Richardson. I mean, sorry, we haven't seen Eli Bradley too much in the comics of late. There was another Patriot that they introduced a few years back, whose name escapes me right now. But maybe this means that they'll find a way to kind of bring him back into the fold, and maybe this will inform future draft picks, given when this series could drop.
Hmm.
Kia, do you have any thoughts? Well, other than the freckles, do you have any thoughts about Elijah Bradley?
I I'm willing to give him a shot. Anybody with freckles, has my vote. So we'll see how he does.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And that rumor, is courtesy of Charles Murphy and Murphy's Multiverse, who are friends in the pod. So
Thank you, Charles. Thank you.
yeah. Another rumor from that same source has to
Oh,
do.
wait, you didn't. Okay, there's actually like 3 rumors total, but did you hear about the one where Henry Cavill is dating Frankia Bernstein?
No, I didn't hear that rumor.
Yeah,
Would you like to fill the people in on that rumor?
yeah, I heard that Henry Cavill was getting it in really good with
Mm,
Frankia Bernstein. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So was there?
definitely his type.
So did you help him release the Snyder cut at all?
I think
Um,
she helped him release. Yes.
okay, good to know. Good to know.
Hmm.
Because there were a couple hashtags going around this week about Henry Cavill coming back. So any.
She's really like trying to help him with that. 'Cause he needs all the help he can get.
All right, there, and then you heard it here first. You
Hmm.
heard it here first in the Racial Draft Podcast. Um, but another rumor from our friends at Murphy's Multiverse, hot off the press, just hours ago, there is a rumor that Jessica Jones may appear in the She-Hulk series. Did you hear that rumor, Martine?
I did hear that rumor. Yeah.
I'm down. I'm so down. Jessica Jones is like my shit. She is like, ugh. She's like my life force. She is my energy.
Yeah, I'm a there's definitely a history between those two characters.
Mhm.
I do think it would be a natural fit. I'm sort of on record as feeling like they don't have to bring the Netflix characters back, but she was one of the high points. And if
Yeah,
they
she
do,
was.
and if they do want to bring her back, maybe whether they reboot the storyline for the character or they continue in some kind of fashion, I would love it. I kind of feel like she'd have good chemistry with Tatiana Maslany. So yeah, I'm here for it. So hopefully, fingers crossed that that rumor comes to fruition. and we get Jessica Jones and our She-Hulk, and you never know, maybe they'll continue on with the Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, storyline, and
Oh,
and
Luke
he'll find
Cage.
another way
Oh,
into the MCU.
oh, he.
I mean,
Mm.
do we need to pause for Luke Cage thirst?
Oh, yes. Everybody, get your drinks, guzzle it down. I'm over here with Essentia. Hopefully one day they'll, be one of our sponsors. Drink water with a high pH. It's good for your body. What's up? Keep hydrated.
And the other bit of news, I mean, I suppose it falls in the realm of sad news, but we'll call it ambivalent news, I suppose. And that's to do with the CW series that was CW backdoor pilot that was meant to be a spin-off of the Arrow series called Green Arrow and the Canaries, which was going to feature Catherine McNamara as Mia Smoke, Katie Cassidy as Laura Lance, and Julia Harkavy as Dinah Drake. Basically, the splitting of the Black Canary character into multiple characters, and through the multiverse, and a futuristic version of Green Arrow and Felicity's child. Felicity being a character that's not a big character in the comics, but was very popular in the CW universe. As someone who was kind of meh on the series, I was willing to give it a chance because I like the cast members. But you know, if this means that passing on this series opens the door to there being a proper Black Canary series which follows the character from Birds of Prey, that could be a win-win. What were your thoughts, Martine, about this Arrow spinoff?
I'm not surprised. Because like the whole thing of like having to wait this long to
Yeah,
hear anything about it was never super good.
yeah,
And then
exactly.
apparently it was like the decision was already made before the pandemic really started. They just didn't tell anybody. So like they
Mm,
knew they weren't going to go forward with it for months now, for
right.
almost a year, and they kept it to themselves until now, until recently. Um,
And that's a
yeah, I
bummer
mean,
because it, prevented them from finding additional work or maybe
yeah,
being written into other series.
yeah. But yeah, like you said, I mean, maybe because now Black Canary is kind of free from the CW, like in that sense, they could now like do something with Black Canary in like HBO Max with Journey Smollett. You
Exactly.
know?
And that would be great because we are a pro Journey Smollett. We are a pro Journey Smollett series. And I was going to report another rumor, but then I realized that the source of the rumor is We Got This Covered, and we are an anti We Got This Covered podcast. So I suppose that means that it's a good enough time to drop, to sort of dive into the pick by picks in
Mhm.
round five. Starting us
Ooh.
off, with the first pick in round five, Jessica Drew, aka the Spider Woman. Give me a second because I am going to pull up the Jessica Drew backstory, the real backstory in the 616 universe.
Mhm.
Given her powers via genetic tampering as a child, Jessica Drew has gone to work as a spy, private detective, and superhero. Jessica Drew was placed into a hibernation chamber for years before emerging decades later, still a teenager. Physically enhanced by a special spider-derived serum, Drew chose to take her life into her own hands and became known as Spider-Woman. Her powers include her spider-like abilities of enhanced muscular density, strength, endurance, speed, and reflexes. She also has the ability to stick to surfaces via a substance secreted from her hands and feet. She also has bioelectric generation, where she allows her to fire energy blasts. She's also a very skilled hand-to-hand combatant, a savvy private investigator, and also a talented marksman. She also, underrated power of hers, has the ability to generate a pheromone that can result in a range of effects, both positive and negative, on those around her. So Kia, are you a fan of Spider Woman?
I actually am. I do like Spider Woman. I mean, you know, anything with woman in it is
Hmm.
right by me. Da, 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 da.
Nice. Well, uh, she was. I should have mentioned that she was chosen by the East Southeast Asian delegation. Um,
Dang, they actually came to play a little bit.
I
What's
know,
up?
and I got word from Ron from the delegation that this incarnation of Jessica Drew is Thai. So if you need help visualizing that, just think of a Thai actress in the Jessica Drew outfit.
Do we
Will
have any fan cast for her?
So we didn't have any official fan casts for her. We had some discussion about possible fan casts, but nothing official, So, um, hey, but if you're a listener and you'd like to submit some possible fan casts for Spider Woman, feel free to comment on Twitter or on Facebook or wherever you hear this or see this, and we'll pass that along. We are all about the fan response. Speaking of fan response, let's talk about the approval rating, where it received an 80% approval rating, with 60% strongly approving, 20% somewhat approving, 13.3% somewhat disapprove, and I guess this is all you, Kia. 6.7% strongly disapprove.
I guess so. I mean, it could have been me. It could have been somebody else. You never know. Somebody, watching the draft and saying, "Ew, no."
Well, one thing that I want to speak out about Jessica Drew is, she of course has a solo book. I don't know if you're reading it. It's a really fun book, and what I found out this week is that the writer of the book, Carla Pacheco, her partner is a stunt choreographer. So there is a lot of stunt work and hand-to-hand combat in the artwork, and typically that bodes well for scoring opportunities. In, given that she has a solo book and that she's kicking a whole bunch of ass. Um, High recommend for the book. She's still playing some kind of role in the King in Black storyline. It remains to be seen what will happen in the upcoming months, but I think this is a big. I think it's going to be a big year for Jessica Drew. There's still that rumor that um, what is the director's name? Olivia Wilde is working on a Spider Woman movie that is yet to be officially announced. If it's officially announced, that's more points. Kia, we like points,
you
don't
know,
we?
you know, we love points over here. What about you, Martine? What do you think? How do
I
you
am
what do you
also
think
a
about
fan
this?
of points.
Yeah.
Now was Jessica Drew on your list at all, Martine?
Um, she was not. She was
Hmm.
not on like the list I made. Um, because mostly because it is just like for the month of March at least, it does seem like the only thing she's going to be showing up in is her solo series,
Hmm.
and so like one appearance as opposed to someone who gets like two to three.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I think she is still a good pick. Like we don't know what's going to happen in April,
Yeah.
so she could.
Because one thing that I'd like to point out is that as of late she's been appearing a lot in Spider-Man books.
Yeah.
As part of their sort of extended Spider family.
Hmm.
Obviously, she's known as, Carol Danvers' best friend. I should have pointed that out. That
Yeah.
her connections include the Avengers, Jessica Jones, Spider-Man, Wolverine, and of course Carol Danvers. Her enemies include the Brothers Grimm, Doctor Octopus, Hydra, Morgan Le Fay. She's got and she's affiliated with both Shield and Sword, and
Hmm.
obviously there's a Sword book. We don't know if that will, she'll figure in that, especially given that there are some King in Black connections to
Hmm.
Sword right now. So I think she has a lot of. I know what you're saying, that there are confirmed appearances for her. There's only
Yeah,
one
but
in
there's
March, but there are a
yeah
lot of possibilities.
potentials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, I mean, she could stand to improve her profile a lot in the coming year. And
Hmm.
as the Asian delegation, it's nice to have a prospect, a blue chippers, as we so to speak.
Hmm.
Um, right there in the 5th round.
Yeah, their second Spider person.
That is right.
That's right.
Uh, excuse me. And that brings us to the second pick of round 5 from, our buddy Shep from the multiracial delegation. I'm sure Kia, you have a vested interest in making sure the multiracial delegation doesn't shit the bed, so to speak.
I mean, yes, I hope so. But like at the end of the day, I've now moved on to greener pastures of being a co-host. So I have to, be impartial to everybody.
Well, that is fair. So the multiracial delegation selected Damian Wayne. As far as their racial selection, they selected him in deference to their drafted father, Latinx Batman. They made him Puerto Rican and they made him Egyptian. So he stayed right in line with the rules of the racial draft by not trying to completely reinvent anything, which I fully respect.
How do you feel? How do you feel about that, Martine?
I'm glad he didn't try to change it up too much. Like he still kept it with
Yeah.
our Batman in mind, and I'm just glad that they chose him because I had no clue how we could potentially have done that without also altering Talia and any Roz, because like Talia could be chosen for any at
Right.
any point. But so like I'm glad that Damien is in a nice place in the multiracial team because he's a good pick.
He is.
He is. He's got two, like in both of the Batman and Detective Comics.
Hmm.
He's got two story. He's got a story in each one of those.
Hmm.
Yeah, so he's good. That's a good pick. Like that's I approve 100% of that, and I approve of the fact that Shep kept us in mind and
Right.
didn't try to alter it too much because we've been in a situation where like someone kind of like didn't do it like last season. Like it
Yeah.
was like
Who was
I
yeah.
mean,
that,
So
listen,
Martine?
I
Who was
listen.
that?
I always appreciate when people use a creative solution. I thought
yeah.
it was a creative solution for making the divergence for Damian Wayne. We're talking about season 1 when the white delegation said that he was genetically engineered to remove melanin from his background to make him even better
Yeah.
bat, an even better assassin. Um,
Yeah.
I would say that recent events have demonstrated that there are some benefits to being white if you want to kill people. I suppose we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Good for Damien this
Good,
time around.
exactly. But
So he wasn't at the Capitol? What?
um, I mean, or was he? Or was he? I'll go ahead and dive into the canon backstory for Damian Wayne. Damian Wayne is a child of Bruce Wayne and Talia al Ghul, and thus the grandson of Batman's villain, Ra's al Ghul. The character was created by Mike W. Barr, first appeared in Batman Son of the Demon in 1987. Having spent his gestation in the laboratory, Damian was raised by his mother until 10 years of age, at which point she left him in the care of his father, who had not been aware of his son's existence. Not a deadbeat. Um, Damien is violent. Oh, until that point in time. Damien is violent and self-important, and was trained by the League of Assassins, learning to kill at a young age. After the events of Batman R.I.P. and Batman Battle of the Cowl, Batman took up the identity of Robin, becoming the fifth person to use the Boy Wonder's identity. He worked with Dick Grayson, who replaced Bruce as Batman for a time, and he in a future that was depicted in Batman 666, played a future Batman. Um, Filled the role as future Batman. He also was killed and brought back from the dead with superpowers. He also started his own Teen Titans team, and is, as of recently, uh, given up the role of Batman. And it still remains to be seen what his new alter ego will be. And hopefully, future storylines will flesh that out. Do you have any thoughts about what you think he's going to go in terms of the DC universe, Martine?
I mean, it's tough to say because like they DC loves their Batman and specifically like their Bruce Wayne Batman. So I don't see him going back to Batman anytime soon. I know he's got a real good friendship with Superboy,
Yes.
so like they're probably gonna keep that as like a whole like
The
new
Super Sons.
the Super Sons, a new dynamic duo for a while, and because I mean, if I remember correctly, isn't there gonna be like a new Digital First series for them too, or
Well,
am I
so the Digital First series is going on right now.
Oh, like right, yeah.
Yeah,
So like
I don't
that's
know how long it's supposed to go for, but
Mhm.
theoretically, if it does well, they'll keep that one going, and he'll score points that way as well.
Yeah.
But in terms of sort of because the Digital First series takes place before they aged up Jonathan Kent, so it's in
Yeah,
that era.
which is a
Um,
good decision.
well, I mean, obviously, Jonathan Kent hasn't been drafted yet this season, so
Yeah.
I'm curious to do this to where they which delegation takes him. But I kind of understand the logic of aging up Jonathan Kent a little bit,
Mhm.
only in as much as if they really want to use him to anchor the Guardian, sorry, not the Guardians, the Legion of Superheroes in
Mhm.
the future. Um, if I would have understood if they put an existing character like Supergirl in the future. But given that that Bendis, who was writing both Superman and Legion at the time, wanted
Mhm.
to have a character bridge that gap, it does make sense to have it be Jonathan Kent, and he would have been too young for the Legion.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it does sort of throw off the dynamic of having this like older now Jonathan Kent and this younger
Yeah.
Damian Wayne. But given Damian Wayne, like he has no problem uh, acting like he's still the smart guy, looking up to a
Mhm.
Jonathan Kent that's like 5 years older than him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Kia, are you familiar a lot with Damian Wayne, that this version of Robin?
Yeah, totally.
All right.
Hmm.
Well, I will pass along some a reading list, and also the animated series. Was it Son? It was Son of the Demon, right? Was that the DC animated series?
I think so. Yeah, I think
Yep,
that's what the
that's
name of it.
exactly what it was.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, like I said, I often say he's a polarizing character because he's such an asshole, and he's like a 10-year-old asshole, which is like, you know,
Yeah. Some people don't like they
sass.
want to punt that kick. They want to
Right.
punt the kid. Like, just like shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
yeah, assholes can be a bit of a polarizing. Like some hate them, absolutely despise them. Some like they like the fact that they're assholes.
Yeah. And one thing that I will say from a racial perspective, one like we didn't make this joke last season, but if he was drafted by the white delegation, he was definitely calling his parents by their first names. Um, but
Uh-huh.
in I would say in the
Hey,
Puerto Rican,
Sarah.
I would say in the Puerto Rican and Egyptian delegation, he's probably he's sticking to what he does now.
Sure, ma'am.
He calls them father
Yeah.
and mother.
Yeah. I don't think that shit would fly.
Yeah, I don't think Ra's al Ghul is letting that kind of disrespect
Yeah.
happen in his
Not
league,
today, Junior.
right? So it works. It works as Damon Wayne as a person of color.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Did I? So I did not give the approval rating for that, so I will give that right now. The approval rating from the fans were 76.5% approving, with 64.7 strongly approve, 11.8 somewhat approve, 5.9 somewhat disapprove, and a little bit more than Kia this time with 17.6% strongly disapproving. And yeah,
Damn.
that's a little bit of hateration. A little bit of
Yeah,
hateration.
it was.
You know,
I'm excited.
I'm thinking that's white people. I'm thinking that's white people feeling like, which is ironic because Damian Wayne is multiracial.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they were hoping.
Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm.
You know, they were trying to make Damian great again. Apparently. Um, and that brings us to the Black Delegation, where they drafted, drumroll, Emma Frost.
Oh my God, she finally picked somebody I actually like. Oh my gosh. The one
Uh,
time Randy isn't here to give praise. I was actually ready to give him praise this week. Oh, and he's
well,
not here for it.
well, he can hear you. He can hear your praise on the podcast. So go for it, Kia.
I mean, Emma Frost. I mean, I don't know who thought of that. I don't know if that was Randy himself or, the delegation, but points. Points. This is a real thing. You're on the board, Randy. You're on the board.
That is true. Martina, are you a fan of Emma Frost?
Yeah. From what I know of the character, I am a fan of Emma Frost.
Okay.
Uh, as like again,
You're more of a
I'm much
DC
more.
person.
I'm more of a
Yeah.
DC person, but like I do know some stuff about the X-Men. So yeah, from what I know of Emma, I like Emma, and I also approved of this pick. Much like Kia, she's not the first one that like I approved of, unlike
Hmm.
Kia, but like yeah, I approve 100%.
Well, here's the thing. So I also enjoy the pick, but what I'm hoping for, and I hope that I feel bad, because I'm opening up to other delegations potentially sniping this pick. But Emma Frost has these clones that are, basically like her surrogate daughters.
Yeah,
Um,
the
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 uh,
cuckoo.
the Stepford Cuckoos,
Yeah.
and I would love it if if he brought this Cuckoos into the fold as well. You know, like that would
Ooh.
be awesome.
Hey,
Just
Martine, you hear that, Martine? That can happen for
just
you,
the
Martine.
just the sass of the Cuckoos, and I'm making an executive decision right now that the Cuckoos are draftable as one unit.
Oh, that's points, points, and points.
Now I will read the canon overview. Emma Grace Frost.
Talk to me.
Emma Grace Frost is a powerful mutant telepath born to a rich Boston mercantile family. After parting ways with her family, she became the White Queen of the Hellfire Club, and began a financial empire as the CEO of Frost International. Starting as an enemy of the X-Men and clashing with the New Mutants and New Warriors, she later had a tragic accident that changed her heart for the better, putting her love for teaching to good use, but never afraid to cross the line of the morally correct. She became the co-headmaster of the Xavier School for
He
Gifted
called
Young.
her a hoe.
Damn it!
You didn't think I was gonna let that slide.
the the co-headmaster of the new Xavier School for the Gifted Youngsters, where she trained the latest generation of mutants, known as Generation X. She has since gained the ability to transform her body into organic diamond, rendering her nigh indestructible and making it more effortless to hide her emotional side. Seldom worried by what others may think of her, she has become a valuable member of the X-Men and leader to the mutant community in general, currently sitting on the Quiet Council of the mutant nation of Krakoa and having resumed the reins of the newly branded Hellfire Corporation as chief ambassador of Krakoa. Yeah,
Oh, look,
she's
if Emma Ross visits Kakoa, she could poke Kakoa. Kakoa could say, "Hey, stop," and then maybe they'll get a point for that.
I mean, it's black on black crime. Um,
For real though.
Now, uh,
Wipe off
well,
your feet before you get here.
that is hilarious. Um, now, our buddy Randy was able to put together a new backstory, or black story as we like to call it, for Emma Frost in as part of the Black delegation. So you guys can be the judge of whether the new backstory comports well with the old backstory. Strong-willed, sharp-witted socialite Emma Frost burst into the high society scene seemingly out of nowhere. Who was this charming black woman whose beauty was so stunning, who had such a discriminating taste in leisure and luxury, who was
Kia,
just so well spoken, and whose
Kia,
strategic prowess could not be denied? No one would
Kia.
ever guess that she started out in life as Emma Franklin, whose librarian mother and plumber
It's now
father
Kia.
feared their kids would never get much further in life than their home neighborhood. So many in Emma's community feared mutants, saw them as monsters. Yet when her father learned she could read minds and could sway thoughts in a more favorable direction, all he saw was dollar signs. And he made sure to tell his daughter Emma know it. She always had smarts, but when she fell short for, say, a crucial test, maybe she could pick the teacher's brain for a little head up. And of course, her work ethic was never a problem, but when time came to seek internships, job promotions, or rub elbows with the illustrious and secretive Hellfire Club, a mental nudge in the right direction never hurt. By the time she met the X-Men, Emma Franklin had now changed her surname to Frost to suit not only her luxurious new diamond-studded lifestyle, but her iced-out newfound secondary mutation. For years, the mutant heroes' pursuit of harmony with mutants just didn't sit right with Emma, and too often they interfered in her plans to make money moves. Though over time she had to admit the way they operated wasn't as bad as she first thought. They helped her see that she had more than just an uncompromising business mind. She had a fiercely loyal and nurturing heart towards her fellow mutants. Eventually, circumstances would make her put differences aside and aid the X-Men. Their first alliance was reluctant, yet Emma Frost soon proved herself invaluable for her firm hand with young students and her unrelenting strategic talent for taking enemies to school.
So pretty much she made Emma Frost me.
Well,
Like, I'm flattered, Randy. Thank you. Thank you. I'll take it back.
and there was also a fan casting, and that fan casting was
Me.
Megan the Stallion. How do you feel
So,
about the fan casting?
I mean, we're practically the same person. So I'm good with that.
Kia the Bernstein.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there are some, some divergences, but not major enough divergences. I think
Yada 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 yada.
I think it can work well within the confines of the canon backstory. I think that there's a lot. Maybe there's a slight tweak in terms of her living with a famous family and perhaps using her mental abilities to make that happen. Obviously we know from the comics that Emma does have siblings, so those siblings would have to be incorporated into the fold. But there's room for it. It's not enough of a divergence to operate the Deathlock rule as we
I got a
as
stink
we.
ass lung and a reckless ass mouth.
um, let's go ahead and find out what the fans thought though. In terms of approval rating, it got 71.4%. Including 52.4 strongly approve, 19 percent, 52.4% strongly approve, 19% somewhat approve, 9.5% somewhat disapprove, and a whopping 19% strongly disapprove. What do we think about this 19% strongly disapprove, guys?
I think that they can't handle the body yada 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 yada.
I do think that there are people who couldn't get it out of their heads that Emma Frost, had to be a white person, which is kind of sad.
Well, also too, and then and then to pretty much use my doppelganger, Megan Thee Stallion, as a fan cast. I mean, holy crap! Like that's a whole lot of woman, aka me. And holy shit! What do they expect? Like that's a badass Emma Frost. And then when she becomes diamonds, ooh, with that body, ooh. I mean, Martine's over there like, yeah.
Martine,
Yeah,
Martine, do you concur? Do you concur with this?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. He's trying to pretend like he's not excited, but he's like, yeah.
Yeah,
Go ahead. You know a few
Mm-hmm.
Megan Thee Stallion songs. Go ahead.
Now Emma Frost is actually one of my favorite characters, and I was disappointed that the movies, the X-Men movies, they're generally known for not doing characters justice, so it's not surprising. But it was disappointing that they didn't do her justice in the X-Men movies, and hopefully, when Marvel takes over the franchise, they will really give us an Emma Frost, worth worth paying attention to. Obviously in last round we had Jean Grey, and this round we have Emma Frost, and it's interesting that there are some big time mutants that are still on the board. Given who's come off so far.
Who? Like who?
Far be it for me to name characters who could end up being drafted.
I mean,
pay no attention to the fact that I did that 10 minutes ago. And
Randy, I just want to say one more time, you did that.
There we go.
But I guess you're gonna have to listen to the podcast to figure out whether I praised you or not. What's up?
And that brings us to our first of many characters who involve, let's just call it multiversal shenanigans. That's probably the best way of looking at it. As I often say, I am not a big fan of multiversal shenanigans, but this character embodies them to the highest degree. This is from the Polynesian delegation, really bringing it this time around. I have to say.
I
Um,
honestly like. Can we give a shout out to Tomity? Like, what's up?
yeah, I mean, what's
What's up, Tomity? I see you. I see you.
but I'm gonna need you guys to weigh in on this for sure. So I'll go ahead and without further ado announce that the with the fourth pick, round five, the Polynesian delegation selected Kang the Conqueror. Now, Kang the Conqueror is a very controversial character because his origins arise involving both time travel and alternate universes.
Your
That's right.
favorite?
Exactly. Time travel and alternate universes. Let's see. There are one, two, three, four, five, six characters who are viewed as versions of Kang the Conqueror.
That's
Uh,
points. He did that.
no, 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 no.
Yes, he did. Oh, yes, he did. Give it to him. Give it to him. That
So,
was genius.
so, So here we go. Kang the Conqueror. While Rama Tut, Kang. Actually, you know what? I'll read the origin first,
Yeah,
and
because
then
you know
and
you're
then
gonna murder all those words that he put in there.
no. I'm talking about the canon backstory. The
Oh,
canon
yeah, but then
backstory
you're
of
gonna
Kang the
tell his
Conqueror.
story, and then you're gonna murder those, and it's gonna be hilarious.
You're already ready for it.
You know
Here
what's
we go.
really, what's really funny? He's probably putting in words that really aren't like an actual language, and just to mess with you.
So,
I would do it. Martine knows I would do it.
so here we go. This is a wild ride, guys. Nathaniel Richards has had various incarnations over the years, and each identity has its own ever expanding history. For the sake of clarity, this. Oh, sorry, no, I'll skip ahead. Uh, there are many alternate versions of Kang in existence. It is commonly accepted that each alternate Kang has interacted with Earth 616 and is direct divergence from the prime Kang of Earth 6311. Already, alternate universes. While differentiating between each of these divergent Kangs is difficult, all those that are tied in with the Kang Prime are listed. Nathaniel Richards was born in the 30th century of Earth 6311, a reality where humanity never went into the Dark Ages. After centuries of advancement in warfare, peace was brought to the land by a time traveler from Earth 616, named Nathaniel Richards. Because Richards brought peace to this war-torn future, he was known as a legendary benefactor. The Nathaniel Richards born to this reality is said to be a descendant of the benefactor through Reed Richards, although records also indicate that he may be a descendant of the Latverian monarch known as Dr. Doom. At the age of 16, intervention from his future self, as Kang the Conqueror, resulted in a young Nathaniel trying to prevent his eventual transformation into Kang, briefly becoming the young hero known as Iron Lad. The youth also briefly had a stint as a supervillain known as Kid Immortus. However, Nathaniel Richards eventually returned to his native time to finally follow his proper destined path, possibly with his memories as Iron Lad erased. However, at this time there is no conclusive explanation, and the events leading to this are as yet unrecorded. As an adult, Nathaniel discovered a time machine, and having grown bored of his peaceful time, traveled back in time to ancient Egypt on Earth 616. There he set himself up as Pharaoh Rama-Tut until he was ousted from his position from the Fantastic Four. Rama-Tut tried to flee back to his own era, but was caught in a time storm and was forced to appear in the modern era of Earth 616. A chance encounter with his possible ancestor Doctor Doom, inspired Nathaniel to abandon his Rama-Tut guise and assume one similar to Doom. In his first attempt, Nathaniel created the identity of the Scarlet Centurion, but abandoned his identity after being defeated by the Avengers. Resuming his Ramatut guise, Richards attempted once again to return to his native 30th century. The time storm caused him to overshoot his own era, and he ended up in the war-torn 40th century, where Ramatut found a war-torn future where barbarians battled with technology from past eras. But Ramatut found it simple to reinvent himself and conquer this era, creating the identity of Kang the Conqueror. And then he conquered the galaxy as Kang the Conqueror, became the Kang Conqueror that we all know and are confused by. Now, let's go down the list. Nathaniel Richards, not to be confused with Nathaniel Richards, Reed Richards' dad, who traveled into the future. Ramatut, from the past. Scarlet Centurion, from the present. Immortus, from the future? On an alternate universe? Iron Lad, a young Avenger, who is also from the future? Kid Immortus, who coexists with Iron Lad, but is Iron Lad, but is also in the present. Mr. Griffin, and potentially a Doctor Doom. These are all alternate personas of Kang the Conqueror who jumps around in time and space and in alternate universes.
Freaking love it.
And wait, I'm just going to run down the list of alternate reality versions of Kang the Conqueror who may or may not be the same Kang from the main universe. Kang the Conglomerator, Kang from Kang with an E, Kang from the Kang Collective, King Kang, King Kang, Kang from the Power Pack, Skrull Lord Kang, Kang and Cap, Kang the Conqueror Kang Kong, Kong the Conqueror, Kangaroo the Conqueror, 41st Century Kang, Divergent Other Earths Kang, Impossible Man Kang, Cranky, Last Avenger Kang, Ramatut Kang, 25 years from now Kang. Wait, how does that work? Sorry. Future Avengers led by Kang, Ultra Nationalist Kang, Old Johnny Storm Kang, AIM Kang, Captain Citrus Kang. Does he just drink juice? Sorry. Voyager Kang, Kang the Time Eater, Wastelands Kang, Tanarak Kang, Spidey Kang, and many, many more. So Kang's not, he's not what we like to call a simple character. What are your thoughts about Kang, Kia?
Kang can do it. Kang. What's up?
Black is Kang.
Black is Kang.
I mean, speaking of Black is Kang, I don't know if you remember the story from a few months back, but Jonathan Majors from Lovecraft Country was cast to play Kang in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
You can Kang it all.
Yeah. I mean, it may be a few years yet before we see him in live action, but he's out there. I mean, he's out there. That means as we speak, he's been appearing in the Doctor Doom book.
Kanging with the homies.
So, I mean, Kang is probably going to have a presence in the Marvel universe. The question is, though, which Kang is it? Now, I'll quickly jump into the approval rating before I dive into Tama T's backstory for the Polynesian delegation. Their approval rating here was 94.4%, which includes 72.2% strongly approve and 22.2% somewhat approve and 5.6% somewhat disapprove and 0% strongly disapprove. So, I mean, a lot of people fans of Kang. Now I will take a sip before I dive into the Kang backstory from the Polynesian delegation. While I'm at it, Martine, give your thoughts about Kang.
He wants to Kang all day.
I'm not gonna lie, I got confused partway through your explanation.
Kang everywhere.
Good for Thomas T.
He's like, I'm making up for all those points from first season. That's that. I got them all. What?
Yeah. Good luck to you, Michael, trying to read this. Uh,
Kang Kang all day.
All right, I'm gonna do my best, guys. I
yeah.
might surprise you.
Kang there, Kang there, Kang Kang everywhere. Kang 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 had a universe, but we don't know which one it was.
So this is Kang's backstory, his Polynesian backstory.
Mhm.
History is made by the deeds of the strong, the brave, and destiny is forged. Ake is the son of the god Tane and is a human woman by the name of Hene. Because of his heritage, he's immortal, with the ability to see through realities and time. His father is the god of nature and protector of humankind. Tane's greatest feat was separating the heavens and earth to create our world. Seeing the feats of his father, he desired to be special, to conquer and rule a world of his own. His father taught him incantations to traverse through time and space. Ake used these to travel into the future. He first traveled to the year 8233, where he encountered Celestials, where he acquired their armor and technology. Then he set about using it to travel back throughout time and realities. He conquered as he went. Wherever he went, he was worshipped as a god. He used his tech and knowledge to rule, build empires, and instigate countless wars. He foresaw empires rise and fall. Some he intervened, others he did not. He saw whole realities where colonization never happened and his people flourished. He was known by many names, but he chose to be known as Kang the Conqueror. In our time, he observed superhuman beings who protected their people. What he didn't know was that Tony Stark had been tracking him and his movements. Tony saw him as an imminent threat to our time and reality. Storm knew of Ake through the stories passed through her people. She saw him as a colonizer of time, a tyrant, indifferent to the suffering of people. He had the power to change history and protect, but he chose war and chaos. Stark, Storm, and other protectors of Earth vowed to battle Ake across time and space, to thwart his endless internal quest to conquer. Ake, Kang the Conqueror. And the Polynesian delegation, as ever, provided a fan cast. Samoan actor Joe Naufahu to play Ake. So, do you think that the Polynesian backstory can fit within the convoluted backstory that is Kang the Conqueror?
Sure. Why not? I mean, it seems more understandable. Uh, sure. I would give it to them.
What about you,
I,
Kia?
Give it to him. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
There are enough holes in the multiversal backstory that there's a little bit of room, a little bit of wiggle room. I do think it's important, though, given our general rule about there being having to maintain familiar relationships.
hmm
Maybe, you know, conquerors are known to manufacture their backstory a little bit. Maybe he doesn't want people to know that he descended from uh, Asian Reed Richards and
hmm
as yet undefined Doctor Doom. You know, maybe he creates this backstory where he's descended from a god, especially because it makes it easier for him to rule ancient Egypt. I think listen, history is written by the winners, and he's a big winner.
Yes, he is.
So props to Kang. Big things are planned for Kang, and your future awaits. Now that brings us to another character who is known for multiversal shenanigans, and that character was drafted by the Latinx delegation.
hmm
That would be Kendra Saunders, aka Hawkgirl. Now,
hmm
before I give you the opportunity, before I cede the floor to you to explain yourself, I am going to have to read two different origins because there are Kendra Saunders of many worlds. I think it's important to talk about the Kendra Saunders of Earth 2, as it were.
hmm
Uh, Give me a moment. The Kendra Saunders of Earth 2 was the latest incarnation of Shiera and the grandniece of one of her predecessors, Shiera Sanders Hall. Unlike Hawkman, she initially had no access to her past memories. Kendra Saunders was a young woman who committed suicide. When her soul left her body, her great aunt, Shara Hall's soul, entered it. Her grandfather, former OSS agent and globe-trotting adventurer Speed Saunders, recognized this change and encouraged his granddaughter to embrace her destiny as the new Hawk Girl. She went through a number of battles, including alongside the Justice Society of America, alongside Hawkman, as part of the Rand Thanagar War, the Justice League of America, and the event Blackest Night before she tragically died on Earth 2.
Not dead.
However, on Earth 1, there is another Kendra Saunders. Another Kendra Saunders? How confusing. Kendra Saunders is the winged superhero and Hawkgirl, a member of the Justice League. She was formerly the leader of the Blackhawks, an anti-apocalypse team. Kendra was originally born as Shiera, the lover of Egyptian prince Khufu. One night, Khufu and Shiera discovered a Thanagarian ship that had landed on Earth. The ship was comprised of the mysterious nth metal. Exposure to the metal formed Shiera and Khufu, as well as their enemy Hafset, forced them into a cycle of endless reincarnation through time and space. Shiera lived countless lives before being reborn most recently as Kendra Saunders, while her lover's latest incarnation was Carter Hall. In the most recent incarnation, she became the leader of the Blackhawks, a team that worked to prevent an upcoming apocalypse, as well as a member of the Council of Immortals, a group of the oldest beings on Earth. She warned the Justice League of the upcoming invasion of the Dark Multiverse, and later worked with the League to help them defeat the Dark Knights. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. During the battle, Kendra. Nope, sorry. Oh, here we go. Kendra was entrusted, there we go, with the Council of Immortals with the mission of using the Anti-Monitor's astral brain in the Rocket of Eternity to destroy the Dark Multiverse. However, when she tried to do so, she was interrupted by Barbatos, who transformed her into a Dark Hawk version of herself, called Lady Blackhawk. Kendra regained control of her body after Wonder Woman used a lasso of truth on her, deciding to work alongside Wonder Woman to hold back Barbatos' army. After finding Hawkman's nth metal mace, Wonder Woman and Kendra traveled through the portal back to Earth, where they ended up fighting various corrupted versions of Wonder Woman and many of the League's villains. She has nth metal wings. She has nth metal fusion, and she has an altered physiology reminiscent to her Thanagarian life. The metal is psychoreactive, responding to the bearer's thoughts, and in space form has a number of electromagnetic gravitational properties. She can use razor wings, regeneration, enhanced strength, enhanced durability, enhanced vision, accelerated healing, self-sustenance, and telepathic resistance. She also has the reincarnated knowledge from her various lives. She is skilled in archaeology, investigation, weaponry, multilingualism, aviation, firearms, and military protocol. She is also, in her mainstream incarnation, Afro-Latina, and I would suppose that in her racial draft incarnation as part of the Latinx delegation, she is still Afro-Latina. Martine, would you like the floor?
Yeah, obviously she's Afro Latina. You saw our fan cast, right?
I did. But I saw it. I am giving you the
Yeah.
opportunity to explain to the people.
Yeah, so our fan cast for this Kendra is Zoe Saldana, who is Afro Latina. She's Puerto Rican, Dominican, Haitian, and also partially Lebanese. So I kind of felt like
Good pick. Good pick.
Yeah, so like she plays well into like, yeah, you could see that she was maybe potential. Like if you want to go with the idea of reincarnation always ends up looking like the same, you can see her being ancient Egyptian.
Fair enough.
Because she could be black, or because she could be Middle Eastern because of the Lebanese thing, and then it's Zoe Saldana.
Yes.
Yeah.
Big fan of the actress. Yes.
Yeah. So we kept it that way.
Oh wait, one more interjection. One
Hmm.
more interjection because she's Afro
Yeah.
Latina. She can
Yeah.
call nth metal by the full name. Go on.
That is correct. Yes.
You can't, but she can.
Yeah. No, I know she can. She can. Yeah. But yeah. So then the backs the backstory that we went with her is
Mhm.
we kept it a little of like her pre New 52,
The Earth
where
2
like
version.
yeah, yeah, her so where she was, her parents did like were killed by a corrupt cop. That
Hmm.
was still a thing. And unlike the other version where she would kind of grew up in like foster system,
Hmm.
like this version, her grandpa took her in straight out from the get go, and
Right.
he knew like his cousin was Hawk Girl, and he
Right.
knew, or at least he kind of figured that Kendra was gonna be Hawk Girl as well, because
Now,
like
what I didn't know until the until I did my little background research, I didn't know that her grandfather was also himself a superhero. And that of course informs his decision making as well. Um,
yeah.
I would imagine that that also informed your backstory.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, because he knows the like that kind of life, so he kind of knows what skills she needs to know,
Hmm.
because she doesn't have all the memories just yet, so she hasn't unlocked that just yet.
Hmm.
Unlike the pre New 52, where it was a case of like she committed suicide and then Shiera's soul went into her body. This was just straightforward. No, this is her as a reincarnation,
Hmm.
just hasn't unlocked the memories just yet. So she
Gotcha.
needs to train herself, like she needs to get herself physically fit to eventually take over the mantle of
Hmm.
Hawk Girl again. And that happened when she was coming back home from film school, because
Hmm.
that was a thing with Kendra, that she was a film student. So like it was like a car accident that kind of just like knocked like all the past lives back into her, like kind of
Right.
like she got all that memory back, and that's when she finally just like started to take up the mantle of Hot Girl, because her grandfather, in originally like Cyril Speed
Hmm.
Saunders, now Cesar, we
Hmm.
decided to go that route. Um, he was like, "All right, I was right. You are ready.
Hmm.
Like I'm proud of you." And then like she now is the double life of adventurer by
Hmm.
day, superhero probably by also day, but just whenever she needs it.
Right. Now,
Yeah.
now, now, what I do want to know is that, one
Yes.
crucial distinction between kind of classic pre-New 52
Yeah.
Hawk Girl and modern is the nth metal aspect.
Hmm.
Um, and, I would imagine that there is a little bit of a merging in your version, in that this version that you envisioned does have the nth metal wings.
Yes. Like I would keep, like I would definitely would suggest that we keep that would still be the situation with our version of Kendra, um, because it is supposed to be like modern Kendra,
Yes.
like so it is
Right.
supposed to be like still with the nth metal. Yeah.
Right. And the other
Yeah.
thing that's divergent is that, listen, the Hawk stuff is crazy to me. Um, so
Hmm.
Shayera, the previous, when before they introduced Kendra Saunders, there was a Hawk woman who was also called Hawk Girl before she was Hawk Woman,
Hmm.
and she has since been brought back into the main universe, and she and her romance with Carter Hall,
Hmm.
excuse me, is essentially the canon romance, whereas Kendra's kind of doing her own thing, and I think she has
Yeah.
a kind of a romance with Martian Manhunter.
Yeah.
I would imagine that you're still on board with that track for
Yeah. I'm still on
Kendra.
board
Yeah,
with that.
yeah, the Kendra of the Justice League, as it were.
Yeah.
All right.
And then I her Earth 2 version, like little thing, is Kendra Munoz Saunders, so I decided to keep that with
Okay.
this version, which why her mother's maiden name is Munoz. I was tempted to hyphenate this version's name and keep it like Munoz Saunders, and I was like, nah. And then it was just like, well, if we keep it Saunders, like maybe we can change that. And I changed it to Sanchez for two reasons.
Okay. Because your name is
One,
Sanchez. Go.
yes, a bit of an ego boost, a bit of an ego thing, but also Sanchez is one of the most fucking common Spanish surnames. Period. It's always in the top 10. Like like whether it's like in Spain or various Latin American countries. In the
Mhm.
Dominican Republic, I think it's like 4 or 5.
Did you
So
know
it's
that before you Googled or after?
no, I've known this for a while now. It's a very common name.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, it's like it's very it's like a I think it's like a Johnson or some shit like that.
Gotcha.
You know, it's that common.
Yeah.
No matter where you go.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little
There are
disappointed.
Johnsons
Mm.
everywhere.
I
Yeah,
mean,
there's Sanchez's everywhere too,
yeah.
apparently.
I mean, I'm a little
Are they
disappointed
dirty?
because,
Yeah.
Eh?
uh, um,
Eh?
so we know that they're planning in the Black Adam movie to have
Hmm.
Hawkman, but it very much seems like they're holding off on any kind of Hawk Girl, Hawk Woman
Yeah.
aspect, and that's disappointing, obviously, both for exploration of the lore and
Hmm.
also an opportunity to have Kendra in the DC Films universe. Obviously, we had a Kendra in the Arrowverse or the
Yeah.
CW verse, but nobody likes her. Nobody likes the character, and nobody likes the actress, so nobody talks about her. So we probably won't see her back. So
Hmm.
that won't be a point scoring opportunity for you guys.
No.
Um, Kia, do you have any thoughts about Hawk Girl?
Yeah,
You said
I had
she.
to, I had to, I had to Google that. Did I say that right?
Yeah, yeah, you did, you did.
I'm really working on my ebonics.
All right. Well, do you have any thoughts about nth metal? Given that you have the ability to call nth metal by its full name. No.
Yeah, just mm, carry on.
Yeah. And
Yay,
like I said,
yay, Martine made a good pick. Yay.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention that alongside, given the multiversal shenanigans, that she is not the first character to go by Hawk Girl. There was,
Hmm.
of course, Shiera Hall, who we talked about,
Hmm.
and yeah, there's at least six in the DC wiki, but I think you did a good job of explaining why this is the one that you want, and this is the one that we should have.
Hmm.
And that brings us to more multiverse shenanigans. The Native American delegation, who whose pick was auto drafted, so uh, guilty is the auto
Hmm.
draft. I selected on behalf of the Native American delegation. I selected Red Wolf. Kia, are you familiar with the character Red Wolf?
No, Mike, why did you tell me about Red Wolf?
So Red Wolf was the first Native American Marvel character. Um, there are a number of characters who have used the moniker Red Wolf, including William Talltrees, Wild Run, Johnny Wakely, Thomas Thunderhead, Rojan Smike, and Red Wolf of the Crow Nation. But the current Red Wolf is from Earth 51920, aka the 1872 universe. That Red Wolf, we still have not discovered what his we still have not discovered what his real name is, but now's the time to jump into his backstory. This Red Wolf was sorry guys. He was in a place called the Valley of Doom, which was in perpetual 1872 after the Secret Wars storyline, which created a fractured multiverse. He started out as a quote unquote sort of savage type character, and eventually became the sheriff in that universe. After the end of the Secret Wars, when they rebuilt the multiverse, he was transported back into the main universe, but in the past, in 1872. However, when he was investigating a murder, he confronted the murderer, and the murderer was a time traveler. And that time traveler, in the midst of the scuffle with the time traveler, he was transported from 1872 into the present day. where he sets up shop, has a number of adventures in the West, where he encounters Hawkeye. He battles in the Resistance during Secret Empire, and currently he is some sort of U.S. agent type figure. Sorry, not U.S. agent, but some sort of um, uh, law enforcement agent, rather. He is currently appearing in the pages of the Werewolf by Night series. He's like I said, he's that moniker has been used by characters, dating back to the early days of Marvel. So there's there's a good chance that Red Wolf will endure in the coming year. But again, multiverse shenanigans. Um, what are your thoughts about these multiversal shenanigans, Martine?
I mean, I can understand why you feel a little frustrated by them. I can understand that. Um, yeah, I mean, like this was like one of those picks that I was like, I'm really starting to feel bad for the Native American delegation because a lot of their picks are just auto drafts, and unfortunately for them, not a lot of their characters are being used and stuff. So,
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, it's. I think you're starting to run that list pretty thin, aren't you?
I mean, I've still got a handful. Got a few in mind,
Uh-huh.
but like it's hard to parse. It's hard to figure out, like, who's
Yeah.
got the highest profile, who's got the biggest future. It's hard to tell who's going to be used a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought that because of like the historical significance of Red Wolf, it was probably a good idea to bring him to the forefront, and also because this illustrious artist Jeffrey Verege was the main artist on the Red Wolf solo series. I mean, this is a Native American character that had a Marvel solo series not too long ago,
Yeah.
um, so it was probably a good idea to pay respects to that.
Yeah.
Key, I'm assuming you're not familiar with Red Wolf.
He was one of the first Native American comic book characters. You didn't know that, Mike?
No, I
I
mentioned that.
mean,
I mentioned that
I
fairly.
mean,
I
I
mentioned
mean,
that.
I'm surprised you didn't let everybody know. Like that's weird.
Oh,
It's very significant.
fair enough. Fair enough. So let's move on. Let's move on to the white delegation. And, surprisingly, the white delegation went with a bit of a chalk pick. They went with a pre-existing white character by the name of, sorry, by the name of Pyotr Rasputin, aka Colossus. I'll just dive right into his backstory. Pyotr Rasputin is a Russian mutant who possesses the ability to transform his body into organic steel, giving him immense strength and durability. Colossus is amongst the physically strongest X-Men and is a talented artist. I've realized that I did not give for the last pick. I did not give, actually, for the last two picks, I didn't give the approval rating for Kendra Saunders either, did I?
No.
Oh, well, I'll do that right now. Kendra Saunders got 90.9% approval rating, including 72.7 strongly approve and 18.2 somewhat approve, and only 9.1% somewhat disapprove, and 0% strongly disapprove.
Mm-hmm.
The Red Wolf selection, Red Wolf got 71.4% approval rating, with 57.1% strongly approve, 14.3% somewhat approve, 21.4 somewhat disapprove, and 7.1, which is probably Kia, strongly disapprove.
That's messed up. I don't like it that you pointed fingers. Prove it.
Hmm? I can't
Prove it.
prove it. I can't
Yeah,
prove it.
exactly. So don't
Uh,
assume. Don't assume it was me.
all right, you only did say early in the show that you hit strongly disapprove for most people,
I
but
don't remember that. I don't remember that.
yeah. But Colossus, who was just selected by the white delegation, was the fifth round selection, and he got 82.4% approval rating, with 41.2% strongly approve and an identical 5.2% somewhat approve, and 11.8% somewhat disapprove, and 5.9% somewhat strongly disapprove. That's pretty big disapproval for a character that is pretty much static and staying white. You know,
Mhm.
what do you think about that, Martine?
I think some of it could come from the fact that Magic was drafted earlier.
Mm,
Uh, so now the fact that he is completely white as opposed to what Magic is multiracial, black and white Russian.
right.
Not the drink. Uh,
Exactly. No, but you've got now we've got a black Russian and a white
So
Russian.
tasty.
We've got a black Russian and a white Russian. I mean, I feel like it
mhm.
almost works.
But yeah, I think some of it could be that. Some of it maybe we're like, ah, maybe
Yeah,
it would probably like because there was no backstory, so we don't exactly know how this
yeah.
goes. Um,
That's a good point.
like unless he's like, I am like white Russian and also black Russian, but I look more white Russian, so
That's
I'm
right.
just gonna,
He's passing. Um,
yeah,
you know, like I could see that. I could see. Yeah. Remember, we've got to work it out for ourselves, right? So
yeah,
like, yeah. So he's actually, yeah. You know what? That works. He's actually multiracial, but he's passing, and because he looks the part as white,
mhm.
he's willing to go all in and identify as white.
Just say like I'm white.
Yeah, to get all access to all of the Russian white privilege.
Hmm.
And he at one point in time he probably was really patriotic, and he didn't want to be part of the underclass, especially after his sister gets sent to limbo. You know, he can he goes to the X-Men as part of some kind of like cultural exchange, and he just kind of
Hmm.
denies his black heritage until his sister reemerges, and everyone's kind of like, wait a second, I mean that's your sister, but ah, and then of course he has to be like, I deny her. It's the demons, they're the reason that she's black, I'm still white. What do you think, Kia? Does that make sense?
I mean, yeah, it does make sense. I'm just kind of like, kind of over the pick. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like,
wow, wow.
uh,
I was gonna call Colossus a bit of a coon. I was waiting for it. I was cute.
ooh.
I was lining that.
I know somebody that is one.
I know. That's what I'm
Ah,
saying. I was trying to set you up for the coon. You know.
yeah.
Yeah. So, I
Cocooning.
so yeah. I will accept that. I will accept that Colossus is actually not white, but he won't accept it. He won't accept his his heritage, and that's how we'll play it.
Hmm.
Which brings us to another Russian character, but this time a Russian character drafted by the Jewish delegation. Shout out to the Jewish delegation. Um, they drafted Natasha Romanoff, aka the Black Widow. Now, Kia, I am sure you've heard of the Black Widow.
Just in passing, when she gave me points.
Oh yeah, she gave you a ton of points, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
Um, Black Widow, of course, is still due to have a movie coming out this
Wait,
year.
who
As
picked this?
the Jewish delegation.
Oh,
Hmm. I'll go ahead and dive to the canon backstory because the Jewish delegation didn't submit a modified backstory. Uh, despite
no, Mike.
Hmm?
Okay, just nothing. Never mind. Continue.
Despite, despite super spy Natasha Romanoff's checkered past, she's become one of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s most deadly assassins and a frequent member of the Avengers. Despite her origins as an agent of evil, Natasha Romanoff has become a force for good in the world of covert intelligence and superheroics. Like her namesake Arachnid, Romanoff is stealthy, precise, and absolutely lethal. She is the Black Widow. Her skills include superhuman agility, she's a deadly one-woman fighting force, an expert in many forms of martial arts. She's also a skilled gymnast and possesses superhuman strength, speed, agility, and endurance. She is deadly in darkness as he is in light. As a highly trained super spy, Natasha Romanoff stands among the greatest covert assassins in the world. In addition to her deadly skills, Romanoff also ages at an incredibly slowed rate, much like Captain America, thanks to a variant of the super soldier serum that was once given him. Or sorry, that she was once given. So Black Widow in the comics is a lot older than she appears. She has connections to Captain America, Daredevil, Hawkeye, Nick Fury, Winter Soldier, and Wolverine. And her enemies include Baron Strucker, uh, Yelena, um, sorry, Yelena Belova, the formerly White Widow, also formerly Red Widow, also Black Widow. Currently, who I think is good now. She also has connections to Hydra and the Red Guardian, and those connections, Black Widow and Red Guardian, will be explored in the Black Widow movie. So look for opportunities. She does have a solo book that is written by Kelly Thompson. She is also kicking ass in that solo book. She's also appearing in. She also, tends to appear in Avengers books. She's appeared in Captain America books. She's appeared in Taskmaster. In the Taskmaster series. Martine, did you have her on your list?
She was one. She was someone that we had in our peripheral, especially because of everything that you said,
Mm-hmm.
like personal series, Taskmaster, like multiple appearances is always a good thing.
Right.
So yeah, It would have been. I would have thought. I don't know how we would have gone about doing, like if we would have kept her Russian or if we would have made her like the Latinx communist
I mean,
version.
she
Like
could be Cuban,
that's why I was
right?
gonna go like we can go like she's like a Latinx Russian, or we just make her like our like that like communist
Mm-hmm.
thing of Cuba, making her another Cuban.
I
Uh,
mean,
like we own like when it comes to Latinx people in comics, if you're actually specified, you're either Mexican, Puerto Rican, or Cuban generally. So it's just like,
right.
yeah, let's just add another one to the list. But like, nah, yeah, I'd like this one. Like you said, like she does show up a lot. So
Yeah, I mean,
didn't get her.
I definitely think there's room. If the Jewish delegation decides to submit a backstory, I think there's room for an exploration
Yeah.
of the Jewish experience in Russia,
Hmm.
in terms of
The
how.
Russian Jews, yes.
Yes,
Yes.
and in terms of how they were repressed, and how she might have felt an even greater need to prove herself within that regime.
Hmm.
Um, but perhaps now that she's back in the States, maybe she's allowed, feels comfortable kind of embracing her heritage. That
Hmm.
would, I mean, obviously I'm just spitballing here, but that could be the kind of thing that the Jewish delegation might want to dive into. Um,
That would be exciting.
that would be exciting.
Hmm.
Do you have any additional thoughts about Black Widow, Kia?
I liked her better on the multiracial team.
I could see that. I mean, there's a point. I mean, I would imagine that they're probably not going to diverge too much in terms of their fan casting, given that Scarlett Johansson is in fact Jewish.
Hmm.
Um, you
Yes, she
know,
is.
although she's,
Her last name isn't Hanson anymore, is it? Oh, because she got married.
yeah, but I don't think she changed her name. I think she's keeping it.
Oh,
Um,
Yeah, I think
damn.
so.
yeah, but as we know,
There's the fence in that relationship.
Scarlett Johansson tries to embrace many identities, including trees. So who knows? Maybe Scarlett
Wait, like
Johansson.
trees that you smoke, or is this a thing? Are you talking about because she lives in California and she's all about the weed? Is that what you just said?
No, this is a very famous quote where Scarlett
Hmm.
Johansson was talking about the fact that as an actress, she wants to branch out. Oh, pardon the pun. Um, you
I was like, ah.
like as an actress, she's willing to welcome any role, regardless of ethnicity. She would even play a tree if the opportunity presented itself.
Well, I got a movie for her, or a YouTube video for
Oh,
her, in which she can play a tree. I
let,
gotcha.
let's save that for Tumblr, Kia. But no, I do think this is a strong pick. I'd have to go back through the other picks for
Well,
the
is it really though? Because I know her book just came out when I was getting points, but
the
is she
book's
gonna
still
have
out.
another book?
No, the
Like,
book's
well, is there
still
gonna be another? Like, by the time we start doing points, will they get
It's gonna
points?
be there.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Will
still
be
an
there?
ongoing book. Yeah. Um,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, so I mean, if, looking at the Jewish delegation right now, they're a little stealthy powerhouse between the Hulk, Captain Marvel, Barbara Gordon, Cyclops, and Black Widow. They might be out here in the competition.
Mhm.
They might be on the top
You hear
half.
that, Martine?
Yeah. I hear
You
Okay,
know,
just double
they're
checking.
contenders.
they are contenders. It remains to be seen what they do with the second half of the draft, though, because at
Yeah.
any, it only takes
That's when
one.
people get creative, or
No, no,
well, at least most teams, Randy.
yeah. It only takes one. It only takes one Krakoa to throw your whole draft off, or or a one above all. Like
I
you
think
know,
I think one above all needs to come back.
yeah. He's above all in everything except for points. And that brings us to the final pick of the round, the South Asian delegation. Uh, they drafted Danny Rand, aka the Iron Fist. Um,
Woo!
I know. Oh wait, I forgot to say the approval rating
Oh yes,
of Black Widow. It was 100%. 100%. 71.4% strongly approve and 28.6%
there
somewhat
wasn't
approve.
one that disapproved.
There was
Yeah,
no
did you forget to
disapproval.
vote on that one, Kia?
I might have.
Mhm.
Not saying that I would have disapproved.
Uh,
Mhm.
but yeah,
It's
so
implied.
I mean, I think that's at least the second or third 100% approval rating for the Jewish delegation. That just goes to show that they're really out there killing it. I mean,
Hmm.
kudos to you, Jewish delegation. You are really out there doing your thing in the racial draft. Good for you. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, going back to Danny Rand, aka the Immortal Iron Fist. Trained in the ways of martial arts at Kunlun, uh, Danny Rand became the immortal Iron Fist and uses his incredible abilities to defend others. Danny Rand's life may have started in privilege, but it took a long journey into honor and strength. As the Iron Fist, Rand learned how to harness immense power, both mental and physical, to save others and fight honorable battles. He harnesses spiritual energy when he summons his chi, and his fist becomes a weapon that can shake the earth. He has intense martial arts training, which gives him reflexes to battle at a moment's notice in any condition. He has acrobatic skills that only enhance his lethal martial arts prowess, and he focuses his chi to heal himself and others. As we know, he has connections to Colleen Wing, Luke Cage, Misty Knight, Spider-Man, and Jaren Hogarth. His enemies include Sabretooth and the Steel Serpent. He's affiliated with Defenders, the street level Avengers team, and the Heroes for Hire. And of course, infamously, he was played by Finn Jones in the Marvel Netflix series. Kia, did you watch that series?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
And are you looking forward to an improvement on Iron Fist, perhaps as through a South Asian bent?
Well, I believe that this Iron Fist makes sense.
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying. I mean, I'm just saying.
And one thing that I like about this South Asian version of Iron Fist, if we may kind of like rewrite his backstory on the fly, obviously there can be very rich South Asian American families with a lot of money and privilege who
Yes.
who could find themselves stranded stranded in Kunlun. Even though he is a variety of Asian, he's not an Asian that's traditionally associated with kung fu and other kinds of martial arts. He could still be, he could
Completely
still,
rich.
well, I'm saying he could still have that outsider that outsider notion that is associated with Danny, with Danny Rand. I would imagine that even if we're just going through his pure origin, that part could stay intact. Where things kind of go awry, I suppose, is that when he comes back to the states and links up with Luke Cage. Obviously, Luke Cage hasn't been drafted yet, so it remains
Wait,
to be. Hmm?
am I thinking? Maybe I'm thinking of Jessica. Wasn't Jessica Jones, or was Luke Cage was in what part of New York? Like he was in.
He
Was
was in
he in the
Harlem.
Black?
He was in
Okay, he
Harlem.
was.
Yeah,
Okay, he was in Harlem. Okay,
yeah.
okay. So yeah, all right. I was getting confused with the Danny Rand who was actually in Asia Town, right?
Chinatown, you mean? Yeah,
Chinatown.
yeah.
Wow, I said that. My bad.
Right, but but
I go
one
to New York
thing.
often, guys. Yeah, no, not even.
No, but one thing that traditionally, I don't know if you knew this from the comics, but traditionally, Danny Rand and Luke Cage are best friends in the comics, and they had a long running series called Power Man and Iron Fist. So that's like a canonical like best friend connection, Danny and Luke. To the going as far as they Luke named his daughter Danielle after Danny. Um, so, even though Luke, eventually marries Jessica Jones, his best friend, who, ironically, Jessica doesn't really fuck with. Um,
He doesn't
like,
fuck with anybody. My hero.
but so given that such a big part of Danny Rand's story is his friendship with Luke Cage, it's going to be curious to see what direction any of the delegations go with regard to Luke Cage, whether they draft him, and maybe we could flesh out the the this version of the Power Man and Iron Fist relationship. Typically it's very in the classic stories we're talking about like a black man from the hood and a white guy from the lap of luxury, who forge an unlikely friendship. This would be something different than that, but it could still work out depending
I think
on.
it would work out, and it might actually work out a little bit better because though, like the Asian version of Danny Rand is rich, he still has to go through different plights similar to an African American male
That's true.
in America.
Yes, but like I said, one thing that like it for Luke and Danny and in the classic incarnation, it's very much kind of like an opposites situation where Luke is constantly puts Danny in his place about kind of being well-meaning, but coming from this place of wealth and privilege, and Luke ends up being kind of the corrective for that, the man, the down to earth guy who reminds the guy who's a billionaire, that things don't always work the way he thinks they should. But like I said, I mean, Iron Fist, I believe, does have an upcoming series. I can't remember whether it's coming in March or April. Do you remember, Martine?
Um, I think he has a mini that's starting in. I think it started already. I may have started in
No, it
February.
hasn't started yet.
Oh
Um,
no. Okay.
so maybe it starts in February.
I think it starts in February because I remember looking at what's coming out in March, and he has his mini, but it's not like issue one from what I can
Okay.
remember. So I know it starts before. It's like a 6 issue mini, but it will continue going through our season.
All right. So, I mean, that's points, which is
Mhm.
better. I mean, last season, I believe the Jewish delegation drafted Danny Rand, and he didn't really put up a lot of points for the Jewish delegation. But this season, we should expect a lot more for Danny Rand. And, you know, there have been some rumors, especially given what we talked about with the whole Jessica Jones thing. There have been some rumors that there would be some allusions to Danny Rand in the
Mhm.
Shang-Chi movie. If that were to happen, then we could hear some casting news and some news of a Danny Rand project, and that would be additional bonus points. So fingers
Ooh.
fing- fingers crossed for the South Asian delegation that you know the Iron Fist brings his fist of fury to the MCU. That would be kind of cool. And that, that wraps up our fifth round. Um, now that we've talked about it, do you still feel the same way that you felt like kind of overall, Kia?
I mean, actually, I have to say that maybe I'm a little bit more excited due to the fact that I do like Iron Fist a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so Randy still did a great job. He came through for the black team or the brown team. It's those who like to be color coded and, very exact on exactly what shade they are. Um,
What would you say your favorite and least favorite picks of the round were, Kia?
hmm, um,
Let's start with your least favorite.
my least favorite. I mean, it's hard to say because a lot of people didn't come through with the backstory.
But
So it's kind of hard. Like, I feel like I need more information in order to pick like the
mm,
worst.
I mean, I didn't say the worst. I just said your least favorite. They're all good picks, sort of. But
Mm, um, okay, my least favorite, I guess, would have to be the native delegation. Who the
Red
fuck is
Wolf.
that?
Mhm.
Who
Oh,
the fuck is that?
I,
Who
I
is that? No.
okay.
But
Fair enough. Fair enough. And your
and
favorite and your favorite.
uh it would have to be a tie between the black team and Iron Fist.
Okay. Nice.
Randy, you
Emma
got
Frost.
praise today.
And
Praise.
and Martine, you got to take your own pick out of the mix.
I know.
Um, so your least favorite?
Native.
Wow. All right.
That was
Um,
not hard for me. Um,
and your favorite?
Probably Iron Fist as well. I
Wow.
actually do like I actually do like Iron Fist. Like there's certain like stories of his
Mhm.
that I'm really fond of.
Right.
So I like that one. That would probably have to be my favorite. Um, yeah, yeah, I would go with that one. That's my favorite,
Okay. Well,
not including ours, obviously.
right. Well, I will weigh in, and I will say that my least favorite pick, shockingly, um, yes, it was also the Native American, but but my second least favorite pick, my least favorite pick that I did not pick,
Okay.
because my hands were tied, restricted by a low number of characters that were out there. My least favorite pick was actually Colossus. Not that I don't think Colossus is a good character, but I think Colossus is a character that could have waited.
Mm,
It's still the fifth round. He doesn't have a solo book. He's sort of kind of like passive in terms
mm,
of the things that he does in the universe. He's sort of the standard team-based supporting character, and given the other characters and their upsides, um, in terms of being lead characters, um, you know, even Kendra, she's not necessarily the lead character, but she figures prominently in the top tier team.
yeah, she's gonna be in the Justice League team. She's
Yeah,
also gonna be like in the Infinite Frontier story. She's gonna be in the Flash issue when they go see the Justice League. Yeah,
yeah,
she's gonna be there.
Colossus is generally not a leader. He's generally not uh, moving forward big plots.
Mm,
His biggest storyline in recent years was was trying to get married to Kitty Pryde and then getting left at the altar. He's just kind of, he's not to say that he's a bad character. He's a fun character. People really like Colossus. I just think as far as a fifth round pick, there was a lot of talent on the board, and there is a lot of talent on the board. And when you're the white delegation, you got a lot of characters to protect. So the
mm,
fact that you decided to protect Colossus over some of the others,
yeah.
that seems like a stumble for me. Um, as far as well, I'll say a word about Kang. The backstory was great, but Kang is such a confusing character that like it was good. It was an outside the box. It was an outside the box pick, but probably could have snuck back and gotten Kang in the next round as well.
Yeah.
I think that there are some characters that are on the board that still that can probably score more points than Kang right now. My favorite pick, I think, is still Jessica Drew though. Right out of the gate, the Asian delegation. They kept it in. They've got Spider Man and they've got Spider Woman. You
Mm,
know, they've got a character that's in the midst of a storyline that's leveling her up. She could have a movie coming soon, which means that they always kind of ramp up that character's exposure when there's a movie coming. I think that she hasn't peaked yet as a character, and you want to have a character that's got some upside. My second favorite pick, who is another spy, who might actually be peaking, and that's Black Widow. um, depending on how the timing goes, whether they release the movie a little bit earlier, that may fall into our period. But the books are doing their part to keep her in the forefront. The fact that they already have kind of a casting in mind that already like it's not that far of a divergence,
mm,
from what we already know. In a lot of ways, the backstory writes itself. So, I always give a little bit of extra credit for a backstory that doesn't try too hard to reinvent the wheel. And fingers crossed that they don't uh, go that route. So, that's up there for me. And again, um, you know, as much as I like Danny Rand, he's got that the albatross that is that really bad series and people going, that guy, Iron Fist, really? It's gonna take a while to get that stink off of him.
Well, all I know is Tommy came through with saying, "I'll be picking my fame, Kang, 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 Kang." Mm, mm.
That is true. That is true. So this brings us to discussion about what is upcoming in round
Who are you gonna
6.
pick, Martine? Who are you gonna pick?
You don't have to answer that, Martine.
I'm
I'll
not
go.
going to.
I will go ahead, and for the benefit of the listeners, I will run down the draft order for round 6. It'll in true snake fashion, it will be the South Asian delegation, followed by the Jewish delegation, followed by the white delegation, followed by the native delegation, followed by the Latinx delegation, followed by the Polynesian delegation, followed by the black delegation, the multiracial delegation, and finishing us off would be the East Southeast Asia Southeast delegation. Sorry, the East Southeast Asian delegation. Such a mouthful. But you
Putting him
know,
out.
like, what are you guys hoping for in this round? I guess I'll start with Kia because I know you don't have any hands to tip.
What am I looking for in this round? I really hope that people come through on their picks and that just, I think, well, first of all, the black team needs to stay on the route that they're at. Like Emma
Hmm.
Frost was really good.
Yeah.
Keep on going. Keep on going. There are people out there like Magneto and stuff like that to pick.
Hmm.
Yep. Also, or I'm just saying, just throwing people out there. Red Hawk. Yeah, no, wait, we already have Red Hawk or something. I don't know.
Are you talking
But
about,
there are
are you talking about Red Wolf?
Red Wolf. Yeah, please don't pick a pick like Red Wolf.
Mhm.
Let's see. For the Latinx team, I think that you guys don't actually have to pick a really good one this week. I think you guys can just like stun on those hoes, and maybe come through with like a decent pick. But just like I'm
Wait,
a
wait,
flexing.
wait!
I'm
Quick
a
question.
flexing.
Quick question. Have you guys drafted a Marvel character yet for the Latinx delegation?
We have not yet.
Wow. All right. All right.
Everybody take DC.
That
um,
that is a lane. That is a lane. Go on.
yeah, I think they're a little obsessed.
Mhm.
Um, And I guess last but not least, I don't know. The South and East. Wait, we have
So so
Southeast.
we have the South Asian delegation and the East Southeast Asian delegation
Yeah,
on
keep doing what you guys are doing. I think you guys are doing a great job. Multiracial team, Shep, you're doing great. You're doing good. Stand in there. What's up? And yeah, I think. Oh,
yeah. I
yeah, and the
think that
white
they're
team. You know, hopefully you guys bring it. Bring something else. A little bit. Go harder. Go hard or go home. You know what I mean? Yeah.
so I think that there are still some big time Bat Family people out there. Not too many, but still some Bat Family people. They haven't all been swept up yet.
By the Latinx team.
But I mean, listen, have at this point, there's a lot of Spanish signs in Gotham City. That's all I'm saying. Have we determined
The
what
food must be on point though.
have we determined what the Gotham what the Gotham newspaper is called? El Diario or like what?
Los Ojos.
Oh yes, we did
Los
say
Ojos.
Los Ojos. Yes.
Yeah, the
Um,
eyes.
right. So yeah, if you want to keep on with that theme, I'm not mad at it. Um, I I think that there are still some big time characters with a lot of powers, and given that Infinite Frontier is going to kick off right around the time. I mean, there's some Justice League members that we expect to do big things. So maybe some of them get swept up. It's surprising that there are still Avengers and Justice League people on the board, and that would be a good thing to target in the upcoming round, especially if they have a solo book or something. Um, um, I want to see some creativity in the backstories, and I love it when the characters interact with one another in terms of the backstories, and obviously Tamati is the master of that. I don't know if you guys remember the Avengers Earth Mightiest Heroes cartoon. Did you watch
Hmm.
that, Martin?
Yeah, I watched it.
Remember how there was like a whole thing between Kang and Iron Man in that cartoon? I definitely picked up on those vibes in Tamati's backstory.
Mm.
So I'm very curious about where he's planning to go with that. Will there be another villain that he goes for? Will there be, some Asgardians, perhaps some Asgardians who might have a Marvel show coming up? Those are characters that have big things coming
Mm.
on. Um, like speaking of the MCU, there's you know, this week we will get our first episode of WandaVision, and we'll have
Woo.
some. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about it. We won't do spoilers, but we'll give our impressions next week, and
Yes, we will. We will do
and
spoilers.
we will do a spoiler section at the end of the show so that we'll give people the opportunity to not get spoiled. But
I'm gonna tell it all.
but yeah, so hopefully that'll give us some insight into where Marvel's planning to go in Phase Four. Speaking of fours, there are members of that Fantastic Four that are still out there waiting to be drafted. So yeah, listen, there's a lot of talent still on the board, and even though there's 7 rounds, we've been doing some talk about a supplemental draft. I guess now's a good time to talk about the supplemental draft, which is going to be um, non non-superhero civilian characters. Hopefully, we can get that going after we finish our 12 rounds.
Mm.
I'm sure everyone's got some ideas as to the supporting characters that they'd like to bring into their delegations. I may as well. I mean, this is less about this round and just more about the draft in general. I'm always looking for more people. I'm always looking for contributions from different fans of the different delegations who want to make their voices known. Feel free to chime in on our posts. Feel free to chime in on our podcast, on our email at racialdraftpodcast@gmail.com. we're always looking for more voices. We want to have more guests on the podcast. We want to hear from you. We want to, like, expand the universe, so to speak.
Everybody's welcome.
Everybody's welcome. We want to expand the community. We want to build it out. We really believe in this. We really believe in our project, and we really believe in the fun of the racial draft. And if you feel the same, we want to hear from you. So, to that end, like, I hope that this is a fun ride for you guys, and I hope that if this is your first show, I apologize, but if this is, hopefully, if this is your second, third, or fourth show, you kind of know how we roll, and you want to keep rolling with us.
Rolling with the homies.
So, but yeah, kid, you have any more thoughts about, like, kind of the draft overall, and the draft, the round to come?
Just, just the draft overall, all are welcome, and let's just have some fun, like, let's be a little inappropriate, let's have some fun, let's do some, race bending, let's just keep it light, fun, and just, go from there, and competitive, of course, Martine, you can't live without that competitive nature. Damn. So yeah, let's just keep it going. Let's have fun. Woo, woo.
And Martine, why don't you bring us home?
Hmm?
You heard it. You heard it. Our quote unquote third co-host. He said, "Bring it home, Daddy."
I don't like that.
Oh, my bad. Got it carried away. See, look at how inappropriate we are. It's amazing. Go.
Like do the ending or
No,
what?
just
Yes,
no, just
do the
like
ending.
no,
Do the
no,
ending.
no, no. Like, say, give your
Oh, you
final,
can't.
give your final thoughts. Give your final
Oh
thoughts.
wow,
Okay.
Mike, you can't share the spotlight, huh? I can't share the
Okay.
spotlight.
Well, I do want everyone that can to continue what they're doing, except like I want the native team to actually be able to make a pick, and their backstory to not end up going into the
Non-canon.
non-canon route. But yeah, I want to see some good picks. I don't want to be one of the only three to provide a backstory again.
Yeah.
Even if it does, that just makes the episode go by quicker. But yeah, and then same thing. I just want to have a little fun, but with some competitiveness as well. Kia, right?
Yeah.
And now you can drop it, I'm sorry. Now you can drop it, Martine.
All right. Well, goodbye, everybody. Hope to see you. I hope that you all be with us here again next week. And like always, all things are possible.